Okay, get ready for this because it sounds like something straight out of a thriller, but it is shockingly real. We're diving into the truly strange world of crimes committed by people who are, and I mean this literally, completely asleep.
So let's just start with the big, almost unbelievable question. I mean, really think about it for a second. Can someone actually commit a crime while they're unconscious? It sounds impossible, right?
And yet, the answer from both medical science and the legal world is a simple and frankly, kind of terrifying yes. It is absolutely possible to perform incredibly complex actions, even violent criminal ones, with zero conscious awareness and zero memory of it afterward.
So you have to be wondering, how on earth does that work? Well, it all comes down to a condition called somnambulism, which is just the fancy scientific name for sleepwalking. The key thing to understand is that the brain is basically in two different states at the exact same time. Part of it is deep asleep, but another part is just awake enough to get the body moving.
A really good way to picture it is like this. The body is just running on autopilot. It can walk, it can open doors, it might even be able to drive a car, but the pilot, the conscious mind, is nowhere near the controls. The body is just running a script.
And here's where you see the critical difference. Look, in both an awake brain and a sleepwalking brain, the motor systems are on. That's why people can move. But in the sleepwalking brain, conscious thought is completely off. And even more importantly, judgment and moral reasoning are suppressed. The little voice in your head that says, hey, wait a minute, this is a terrible idea, that part of the brain is totally offline.
And that is where we stumble right into a legal minefield. See, a sleepwalker isn't choosing to do anything. They are acting without what the law calls intent. And that word, intent, is everything in criminal law. If you can't prove there was intent, the whole idea of a crime starts to fall apart.
Which leads us to this fascinating legal puzzle. If a person's body commits an act but their conscious mind was completely checked out, how in the world can the law assign blame or punishment?
Well, the law actually has a name for this. It's a recognized, though very rare, defense called automatism. It basically argues that the defendant's actions were completely involuntary, done without any conscious control. Legally speaking, their body was acting like an automaton. Now, you can't just stub your toe and then try to use this in court. No way. The bar to prove this defense is incredibly high. You need a long medical history of sleep disorders, you have to go through extensive sleep studies to literally watch the brain's activity, and you need convincing testimony from top medical experts. And yet, and this is the wild part, it has actually worked. In a handful of famous, and you can bet highly controversial cases, defendants have been found not guilty of very serious crimes, even murder, because they successfully argued they were in this state of automatism. So while those courtroom cases are really dramatic, let's bring it back down to earth for a second. The triggers for a normal sleepwalking episode are often pretty common things. We're talking about high stress, not getting enough sleep, it can be genetic, or even just having a fever. And it's so important to remember what the vast majority of these episodes actually look like. They're almost always harmless and pretty boring. It's usually just someone walking into another room, maybe mumbling a little bit or moving a few things around before they get right back in bed. Yeah, those violent cases we've been talking about, they are incredibly rare. I mean, that's why they make headlines and spark these huge legal debates. For almost everyone who experiences sleepwalking, it is completely and totally harmless. And that just leaves us right back here with this final big question. It's the core puzzle, legally and philosophically. An act happened, maybe someone even got hurt, but if the mind behind that action was absent, if there was absolutely zero intent, can you truly call it a crime? It's a question that really challenges how we define responsibility itself.